Welcome to this presentation on New York Assembly Bill A1049, the bill that would require every school district in New York State to hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. This is Assembly Bill A1049, explained for 2026. As stated on the official website of the New York State Assembly at nyassembly.gov, this legislation was introduced by Assemblymember Jessica Ramos on January 8, 2025, and has been amended and recommitted to the Education Committee for the 2026 session. Over the next several minutes, we will explore every aspect of this bill. You can find the full text of Assembly Bill A1049 by following the QR code on this slide, which links directly to the New York State Assembly website. This presentation covers the key provisions of Assembly Bill A1049 and its Senate Companion Bill S05088. As stated on the New York State Assembly website, the bill was introduced on January 8, 2025, and amended on May 23, 2025, becoming a 1049A. As of June 2026, the bill remains in the Assembly Education Committee. The companion Senate Bill S05088AA, sponsored by Senator Luis Sepulveda, is also in committee. The bill would require that every school district appoint a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. This officer would be an administrative employee appointed by the superintendent. Assembly Bill A1049 amends New York's education law to establish the position of a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer in every school district. The legislation adds a new Section 2131 to the education law. The bill amends Sections 1709, 1804, 2101, 2503, 2554, and 305. The law would create 3 layers of accountability. First, the DEI officer must publish an annual report. Second, each Board of Education must prepare a formal response. And third, the New York State Education Commissioner must compile a statewide report. According to the bill text, the DEI officer is appointed by the superintendent of schools. The officer need not be a resident of the school district. The officer's core duties include 4 key responsibilities. First, develop methods to diversify district personnel, especially teaching staff. Second, annually review racial and ethnic disparities within the district's workforce. Third, encourage and assist recruitment and retention of a more diverse staff. And fourth, review district policies and recommend changes to reduce racial disparities in hiring. To understand why A1049 was introduced, consider the teacher diversity data. According to the New York State Education Department, New York's teacher workforce is approximately 80% white, while the student body is majority non-white. Research shows that students of color benefit from having teachers who share their background. Teacher diversity improves student outcomes and reduces dropout rates. The bill sponsors argue that a dedicated DEI officer is necessary to make meaningful progress. One of the most significant provisions of A1049 is the annual reporting requirement. The DEI officer must publish an annual report on the district's progress in hiring and retaining educators of color. This report must be presented to the Board of Education and made available to the public. The annual report creates accountability and transparency. It creates a data set that can be used to identify which strategies are working. Without public reporting, there is no accountability. A 1049 creates a multi-layered accountability system. After the DEI officer submits the annual report, the Board of Education must prepare a formal written response. This board response must be submitted to the New York State Education Department. At the state level, the Commissioner of Education must compile an annual statewide report. This report would aggregate data from every school district and deliver it to the state legislature. This creates a feedback loop from the classroom to the Capitol. Supporters of A1049 include the New York State United Teachers, also known as NYSUT, and civil rights organizations. They argue that a dedicated DEI officer is the most effective way to address the teacher diversity gap. First, the bill creates a dedicated role rather than relying on voluntary efforts. Second, annual reporting ensures transparency. Third, the bill codifies DEI work that many districts are already doing. Fourth, requiring board responses ensures diversity efforts are taken seriously. A 1049 also faces significant opposition. Critics argue that the bill imposes an unfunded mandate on school districts. Creating a new administrative position costs money without state funding. Others argue the bill undermines local control of school districts. Some question whether a single officer can change hiring practices without broader reforms. Legal concerns exist following the Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard. A 1049 comes at a time when DEI programs face unprecedented challenges. At the federal level, Executive orders have targeted DEI programs in education. Multiple states, including Florida, Texas, and Oklahoma, have restricted DEI in public schools. Florida's Senate Bill 266 prohibits public colleges from spending on DEI programs. New York's A1049 represents a countervailing trend. New York City already employs a chief DEI officer, providing a model for the state. A 1049 amends multiple sections of New York's education law. First, it adds Section 2131 defining the DEI officer's role. Second, it amends Section 2101 to include the DEI officer as a recognized position. Third, it amends Sections 1709, 1804, 2503, and 2554 requiring board responses. Fourth, it adds Subdivision 63 to Section 305 for statewide reporting. These amendments create a complete legal framework from position to oversight. If A1049 becomes law, it will affect all 700 school districts. Large districts like New York City would transition smoothly. Small rural districts with limited budgets could face challenges. The bill does not provide state funding, making it an unfunded mandate. Districts would need to absorb costs within existing budgets. The bill does allow flexibility by not requiring the officer to be a district resident. Let us summarize what you need to know about New York Assembly Bill A1049. Number 1. A1049 would require every New York school district to appoint a DEI officer focused on diversifying the teaching workforce. Number 2. The officer's duties include developing diversity methods, reviewing disparities, and recommending policy changes. Number 3. The officer must publish an annual report presented to the board and made public. Number 4. Boards must prepare a formal response submitted to the state education department. Number 5. The commissioner must compile reports into a statewide annual report. Number 6. NYSUT supports the bill. Some school board associations oppose it as an unfunded mandate. Number 7. As of June 2026, the bill remains in the Assembly Education Committee. You can find the full text on the New York State Assembly website at nyassembly.gov. The QR code on this slide links directly to the bill page. Thank you for watching. This presentation is for educational purposes only.